I'm your host, Benji, and tonight's kind of fun. We're doing another roundtable discussion, and this discussion is going to be about this past weekend we all experienced at Rendezvous in the Ozarks AKA RITO 2023. I've got a few guys in the house. Some are pros and some are not pros, or I guess I should say more or less veterans of this event versus non. We've got some newcomers to the event, and we've got some guys that have been here at least 2 years plus. And I'm just going to kind of let them introduce yourselves. So with us, firstly, we've got Dalton. Dalton, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name's Dalton. I drive a 95 Jeep Cherokee. I'm from the good old state of Arkansas, ironically. And this is my very first year attending Rito.
Yahoo! How'd you hear about it? Word of mouth?
No, I was on Facebook and I was scrolling through like the timelines of stuff coming up, and I saw this event pop up like 4 months ago, and I never
Nice.
saw it again. And I mentioned it to my friend, and then about 2 months ago it popped up again, and I finally read into what it was. And like, that sounds like something I want to go to.
Weird. So like through like a Facebook ad or something?
Kinda. It was I was looking for this train ride that goes from Arkansas to Missouri,
Mm.
and it's just stuff that's coming up in your area. And then I saw this, and then it popped up again. And I was like, "Ooh,
Wow. That's pretty cool. All right, we got Jacob Kane in the house. What's up, man? Tell us a little bit
Hey,
about yourself.
how's it going? I'm Jacob with Last Minute Adventures. I drive a 2020 F-150 that I've kind of made mine. It's my second year at Rendezvous. We did things just a little bit different this year on how we started that, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. But yeah, it's a
Yeah.
blast. I'll see many more in the future.
Yeah, man. Awesome. Jonathan from down south, and not Australia. He's literally just south of us. What's up,
Yeah,
man?
my name's Jonathan Hines from Southeast Louisiana. This is my second year going. Last year I had to duck out early because Justin Williams drugged me up there Monday before, and happy wife, happy life, so they say. So I had to, I got to experience Rito last year on Friday, and then had to dig out. But this year was completely different. It was absolutely phenomenal. Had a wonderful time.
Yeah, it really was. Despite all the weather, and we'll get into that too. Mike, what's up, Mike?
How's it going? My name's Mike from Little Rock. I have a 2021 Forerunner, basically stock with a budget lift on it, and this is my first day at Rendezvous. I
Yeah,
was,
not even
I
a full
was,
day.
no, I think I spent like 20 hours there. I was at the Hot Springs Off-Road Park going for cruiser crawl Thursday, and drove up to Rendezvous from there, which was about a 3 hour drive. And then I think I got there right as the fog was leaving.
Yeah,
And then came back to Little Rock to pick up my wife, and we went back to cruiser crawl at the Hot Springs Off Road Park. It
you.
was, I put, like I said, I put about 600 miles on my Forerunner this weekend.
That's
But it was a
crazy.
blast, man. I just wish I
Yeah,
had been able to spend more time off road.
yeah, me too. Reverend Paul, what's up, man?
Hey, how you doing? I'm Reverend
Good.
Paul, otherwise known as Wandering Possum, up from way up here in Kansas, near Kansas City. This was definitely my first year at Rito. I got a 2000 Grand Cherokee with a 3-inch lift, and just getting started in this crazy game.
Nice. Jean Louis, you made it. Not hearing you, brother. Not hearing you, brother. Your mic muted? Oh, no. He was having technical difficulties earlier. We're not hearing you at all. Dang it. Sorry, dude. We're going to have to kind of see if you come in or not. We're not getting you at all. Dang it. All right. Well, let's talk about kind of pros and cons of the year. I want to talk about kind of to the first timers here who've attended this. Did this meet or exceed your expectations? So let's start with you, Dalton.
this definitely exceeded what I had in mind. From reading what the Rendezvous website said, and then watching a couple past videos, I kind of went into it. Oh, it's just a whole bunch of people that kind of stick to themselves in a sense
Mm-hmm.
is what I was going to. But when I got there, it was instantly like just people talking to you, looking at your rig,
Mm-hmm.
and it just got even better from there. Just looking at all the vendors and all that stuff.
Did you go down by yourself, or did you go down with the crew?
Um, I I was supposed to have my friend's Jeep. It was supposed to be me and my friend driving down there in his Jeep, but his dad blew his motor up, so we just rode in mine.
Oh,
So
so
it was
he
just
went
me and
with you
him.
still.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's fun. All right. What about you, Rev Paul?
It was very similar to what I expected. I had the opportunity to talk to several people that have been several times ahead of the game, so I was pretty familiar with what I thought was going to happen.
Okay. What'd you think of the layout or the campsite? The
I
whole
liked it.
overall layout.
I wish there was more trees in the middle, but I understand why there's not.
So what about Mike? This was your kind of your first time too, and like you said earlier, you're busy and all that stuff, and it's like you made it happen. I think that's awesome. And then you and Mark drove down. Did he stay?
No, he ended up having to go to Mount Magazine right after the hangout was over.
Okay. Yeah, man.
But
So you came down. What'd you think? Your taste of it. Your little taste of it.
I thought it was awesome. I mean, it's not. I mean, it reminded me of more with all the certain vendors and whatnot that were there,
Mm-hmm.
which of course I'm not surprised with it being put on by the same guys. But I thought the layout of it was awesome. I'd been to Birds a couple times just driving through it, and so I wasn't real sure what to expect with this because I hadn't really seen any videos or whatnot from it last year.
Mm-hmm.
But I've, like I was saying earlier, I've been trying to go since 2019, and just something always ended up coming up.
Yeah.
And I had a 4-day weekend, and I was like, I'm not gonna go another year
Right.
without at least seeing what it is, and really the hangout is what made me decide to
Sweet.
get up there.
And
And
you showed up, and I was, I didn't even put you to work. I just said, "Hey, does anybody want to help?" You're like, "Yeah, I'll help." And then you're the one reading off tickets, so like,
yeah, no,
it
that
was
was
like
weird.
getting thrown into work. You're like, "Ah, crap! All right, shoot." No,
Hey man,
that's
I was just happy to be there and going along with the ride. So
yeah, for sure. All right, Jacob. So what did you think of your second year coming in, and then kind of tell us about what shifted between last year's setup for your camp and this year's setup?
Yeah, so last year was a blast, but we came in early on. I got there on Wednesday night of last year.
Mm.
So came in super early, camped in the back corner by the old stage up in the woods. Me and the crew did, and it was dusty. It was almost miserable to be up there. We had to have our awning walls out to cook, everything like that. Um, and there wasn't but one food truck last year. And then the vendors were so spread out last year. It's like a big horseshoe. And this year, dramatically changed. We came in on Friday morning, actually. We did start our trip on Wednesday, but camped through a couple different places and then rode on in. We camped in the middle of the field this year, right behind the vendors. And that was awesome. Weather was great this year for me, anyway. Minus the dust. If it's not dusty, I'm good.
Right. Yeah.
The vendors were set up excellent this year, having them kind of like aisles to walk down. You didn't feel like you had to walk across the field to get to the other side. So that was much more thought out. And then the improvement of food trucks and the coffee truck helped a lot.
Yeah. I
So
heard
I
they ran
had
out of coffee like real quick. Like
they did.
within
They did. I had it expected to cook all nights and wind up eating from the food truck because it was just me this year by myself. My wife and son didn't come with me this time because we had just got back from Big Iron and they didn't want to be gone another week. So
Sure. Sweet, man. What about you, Jonathan?
So yeah, last year we had actually set up. We had paid for camping at Mulberry, but we ended up going down to Redding because of the wind and the rain that was up there. Everyone was complaining about it. It got way too windy up on top of the mountain, so we were kind of sheltered. We had a great time down there with the people that we were hanging out with. You know, switching to this year, we got right into the thick of everything. Got up there with some of you guys and set up camp, and I don't think it could have been better. Uh, I no offense, do disagree with the way that the vendors were set up this year. It was a little bit confusing to me as far as the aisles, because I mean there was a lot in the middle that you weren't seeing, and it looked like you were just missing a bunch of stuff. Last year that horseshoe, you kind of knew your bearings and knew where you were, and that was something that I thought was a little more fluid than what we dealt with this year.
Right.
Because I'm seeing stuff posted that I know I missed. I know that there's vendors I didn't see when I was there.
I'm with you, man, on that. I think last year it was big. It was too spread out, and this year is probably too close. So I think if each vendor booth had about 5 foot on each side of their tent or whatever, that was fine. It seemed like they were like kind of sardines in this big old field. I mean, yeah, you go from one drastic, thing to another. And it's I'm like you. People were posting pictures of like vendors and stuff. I was like Tom with Sport Keg. I always go talk to Tom. I know Tom from Moore and all that stuff for like the past 2 or 3 years, and I'm like, Tom was there? I didn't even know. And of course I missed his booth. So it was like,
and then
crap.
Last year you had several vendors that were selling the same exact products.
Really? Yeah. Well, to a point. If there were stores.
There was a bunch of stores there. The 23-0 stuff, the front runner stuff, that kind of thing. So I mean, from a vendor aspect of it, I would see where it would get annoying when people are flowing in one direction and they're buying it the first place they see it.
Yeah.
So I see where that would be an issue. But aside from that, camp this year, we had the best freaking time, man. Yeah. It was great.
So, like Jacob said earlier, it was stupid dusty last year and windy, and we were kind of next to each other last year. We were in the woods over there with that. It's just dust everywhere, and I mean it didn't matter where you were; it's dusty. So, like this year, I was like, okay, we want to find a low key area, compared to last year, where it was a low key kind of area that wasn't heavily trafficked, and it was where we stayed at. But everybody else seemed to have the same idea. So we kind of camped there, which was fine, and I'm glad that you guys were down there, especially like Justin. He's been there since, Wednesday or something like that. He's been kind of hanging down and holding the fort down. We ran into you at Ozarks Cafe, and I'm like, why aren't you at camp? Like, hold down the fort. And you're like, it's going to be fine. We rolled up, and there's no problem. But let's talk a little bit about your load-in situation, what you brought, and if you are a more than a 1 year, multi-year repeater, you could kind of tell us what you shifted from last year to this year. But let's start with Dalton. Dalton, what did you bring to Rendezvous to survive 2 or 3 nights?
Well, a cooler of food. I almost forgot it. I about forgot it in the Hearts parking lot in Elkins. I slid it under my Jeep after we filled it up and drove off and had to go back and get it. So it was nice. So I brought. It's kind of hard to answer this because I was preparing for this, and then at the middle of next week, I'm leaving for over the high watermark trail through the Ozarks National Forest.
Oh, nice.
So I was kind of gearing up for both in a sense. But more or less, I brought the basics: air pump, spare tire, trash bags, food, my French press because I gotta have coffee in the morning. Care what anyone says. And then just basic stuff to sleep in. I learned that no matter what you do, you can't have enough blankets when the wind's blowing on you, especially since I sleep inside my Jeep on a bed system I made because I was freezing all night.
Oh, man.
But really, I just brought the bare necessities that I think I needed: tools, food,
and
pots
you
and
had
pans.
Enough, or did you feel like you overpacked?
I definitely feel like I overpacked on the food wise. Because this is the first time I've gotten to test what's in my Jeep and how my Jeep reacts and what all I have. So I feel like I definitely overpacked a lot on the food side. Tool side, I literally just brought enough to change a spare tire and small parts. So I didn't think I was okay there. But I would say I definitely overpacked on a couple of categories.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Live and learn from that stuff. I'm still overpacking. So, all right, Jacob, what about you, man? Last year's loadout versus this year's.
Yeah, last year's loadout was a whole lot more. but I also had the wife and the kid, and then my mom and stepdad came too. Um, so I had food for all of us last year. Plus, I cooked in all three categories last year in the cooking competition, so I had to bring food to feed judges. This year, I knew I wasn't going to do it. I really want to enjoy my time doing it. I love what Tate's got going on over there at Overland Spices and the Ultimate Camp Cook. But this year, I just wanted to focus on having fun with the guys. Like I said, we left Wednesday night, camped on the Buffalo, and then did some routing through, came and camped at another spot pretty close to the event site, and then rolled on in then. But I brought the bare minimums. I didn't even bring a heavy jacket, which I regret. It is now in my truck. I wasn't expecting it to get just that crisp out there. I managed fine, but I did bring my diesel heater. That's always a good choice. So I enjoyed that at night. But yeah, just one chair this time, not five, and then
Right.
so it was different. I didn't have to filter through everybody else's stuff to find mine. It was just mine.
There's two things there. When you have your family and you're cooking for them, and then you're cooking for the judging, and then you've got the chairs and the bedding and all that stuff for the family versus yourself, it's a totally different game. And especially if you're the only one that's dependent on yourself, who cares?
Yeah.
Like I said, you forgot your jacket. If your boy forgot his jacket, it'd been the end of the world. He would have been
Most
crying all the
definitely.
time or been miserable. But you're like, yeah, I forgot it, whatever. Roll the punches. But
Yeah, and
that's relatable.
we upgraded the fleet this year, so now I have so on my truck I changed some stuff from last year. So I had a Tough Stuff Alpha on my truck last year. That's the family tent. It is now on a trailer that I have. So when we go as a family, I just back up to the trailer, hook up to it, and everybody else's chairs and stuff stay in the trailer.
Nice.
So I've got a wedge style tent on my truck now. It's pretty much just me, maybe me and the boy. I plan on using it a lot at deer camp and stuff like that. So that's why I
Nice.
moved to that route. And then just also with the family having a place just to base camp, and then we can run off to go see something cool. So
I like that. Sweet.
yeah.
Jonathan, what about you, brother?
I think a better question for me would be, what did I not bring?
He brought everything. He even had a kitchen sink.
I had a kitchen.
I had a freaking kitchen.
The whole gazelle. I mean, that thing came in clutch with all the weather, and everything. And I'm pretty sure almost every single one of y'all entered there. I brought enough food to feed probably 100 people. I said it the last time I was on, that I enjoy cooking. I enjoy eating well. I want to drink. I want to eat. I want to have a good time. And man, that's what I had. I mean, I forgot a ton of stuff here. I mean, that's okay, because I'm going to go out with the boys this weekend and use it then.
Nice.
But, I did enter the cooking contest kind of last minute, and, Tate came over to me telling me he hated me because it was amazing.
Yeah.
I took first place in the breakfast category.
Very cool, very cool.
And then I had to enter my son in the grilled cheese competition because he only had one other kid in it. So to prevent him from canceling it, I kind of got on board with that and went with that route. So I mean, literally, I've changed everything on my truck in the last year. I've added a deck system, upgraded my rack to a full size. I switched to the Tough Stuff Alpha tent.
It's a great tent.
It's a phenomenal tent, man.
Great.
I picked it up on Black Friday when they were doing, for $2,400 with a free 270 awning. So
yeah, how did you?
pass that up.
Yeah, for real.
Nice.
I've got Devo's lights. The only thing I did not have was a fire pit, and I knew I didn't need it. I've got a propane one I made out of an ammo can, but it's like I said, the better question would be, what did I not bring?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I didn't bring. Shenanigans on Monday. I was the guy that didn't bring the diesel heater. I was that guy. It's sitting right there. I got it out last night, but I forgot my kid's jacket.
No.
So he had on 11 layers of clothes, all mad all weekend, and we made it out all right. But other than that, my pack out, it's pretty clean, and I've got everything pretty much organized. But yeah,
Sweet.
I always say I bring too much stuff, but I think I brought almost everything I needed.
But it didn't feel like you were overloaded, because with the deck system and your truck's it's a full size truck. Did you feel like it was overloaded, or you're like, oh, this is it?
No, not at all.
Good.
No, I mean the Gazelle looks like I've got a body in a bag up next to the awning when I travel, but
Not Aunt Edna.
Hey,
exactly.
so we talked about that at the Waffle House. I told my buddy that was in the Tacoma parked beside me. I said, "That's how you can carry your Gazelle, just like what he did. Buy a
That's it.
270 and strap it to it."
That's
So
it.
yeah, we actually talked about that. Yeah.
It literally looks like a body in a bag, but that gazebo that was killer this weekend.
Yeah, it was nice because that was your home base for literally cooking, and you were cooking quite a bit, even for like camp. People at the camp, not only just the judging portion. And I appreciate you because we were right next door, and we were getting some phenomenal meals out of you. So that was fun.
Pulled pork, fresh gumbo, breakfast fatties, pretty much anything you guys wanted to eat. I had with me Mexican chicken sandwiches, some sausage.
Legit.
It was a good time.
Sweet.
I forgot the whole brisket here. Sorry about that, guys. We'll get her next time.
Leave it in the freezer. Mike, tell us about your 20-hour experience at Rito. What did you sleep in your rig, by the way?
I sleep in it. I've got a
killer platform. Yeah, talk us through this.
Thank you. Yeah, I sleep inside my truck. I've got a drawer system I built in it. And last year for my birthday, my wife bought me a remote start so that I can, if it gets cold, all I got to do is hit the button 3 times, turns it on, pumps in hot air.
I got to stop the show. I got to stop it.
Hey, man.
I know it.
But as far that like that's about as bougie as I get, man.
Dude,
like,
but hold on. We went camping together. What was that, December?
January.
Okay. Well, your alarm or something went off.
Oh God.
Yeah. And I was like, "Is he kidding me?" Because he was all like, "Yeah, I could start my truck up and all this," and your alarm goes off.
I got out to pee. I thought I had it turned off, and I got out to pee. We were on the side of the mountain, and yeah, that was on me. I'll own it. But
I am jealous because you could literally take the chill off real quick.
Yeah, and you'd be surprised how well insulated those. I mean, I haven't really done anything to it. But how well insulated it is in there, and like we were on the side of the mountain in like 10-degree weather and 50-mile-an-hour winds.
Right.
And I think I turned it on once that night. And but anyways, like this past weekend, I mean, all I brought was my mattress. I've got an X-Ped, and it's super comfortable. And I bring that, and I forgot my pillow and my blanket. So luckily I don't ever take any of my stuff out of my drawers.
Yeah,
so I had like a packed up camping blanket in there, and then I just used all my clothes as a pillow. Like I stuffed
I've done
like
that
all
before. I've done that, yeah.
Stuffed all my clothes inside of a t-shirt and was like, all right, we'll run like this. And so, like, as far as food, I was gone for 3 days, so I had everything in my cooler. I've got just a $100 Igloo cooler, and I had about 15 bottles of water that had frozen, and everything else was food and beverages.
Yep.
And so
you got to have water. That's for sure. You got to have a lot of water.
Yeah. And man, I just had a couple clothes and like enough tools to change a tire, like what Dalton was saying, and just went with it.
If I could sleep out of my rig or a vehicle, I would totally do it in a heartbeat. I would do like a seat delete kit and then sleep in there. I'm just too dang big. All right, let's move over to Rev Paul, and I know you've packed a ton because you had a special guest with you, and go ahead and tell us about all the things.
So I brought my Gazelle knockoff Taj Mahal tent. It's a Magellan. You buy them at Academy Sports. It's 2-room, supposed to be 8-person, but there was only 2 of us. We had 1 per room. Got built-in LED lights and everything. I brought my 17-year-old daughter with me, and she was quite the trooper. I was impressed. But I brought my new Lost Horizon, I think it's what it's called, mattress. And it's
Yep.
dang near as comfortable as my Stearns and Foster mattress at home.
Yep.
Brought a new fridge, plenty of room for my beer. We had way more food than I ever could eat in a weekend. It was crazy. That was my wife's fault.
That's a good problem to have, though. You never know.
Yep.
So, did you feel like you overpacked, or did you
Oh,
feel
absolutely,
like it was?
absolutely. I got way too
You
much
did.
stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Sometimes I get that feeling from me, especially like if I take my wife, and then obviously we had the giveaway and all that, the meetup. So I was hauling more stuff than I typically would take, and I was trying to make it all fit around that. It stressed me out. I was just like, I hate clutter. I hate a mess like that, especially in my rig.
Yep.
And I just felt like that the whole weekend. But it was It was pretty much an expo. It wasn't like a wheeling trip for
right.
me.
Yeah.
So,
I don't see how you fit all that stuff in your 4Runner.
dude, I'm good.
It's like a Tetris puzzle in there. Just all. It is nice having a full size vehicle.
I bet.
I'm sure. So, like, I was looking towards like getting a truck for my next build, but then I'd be like, I'll just bring extra crap I don't really need, because that's just the way I am. I would just find a need for something and bring it. But what's something you guys would recommend to anyone considering going to Rendezvous in the Ozarks as a first timer? Anybody can jump in
Bring
here.
clothing for all types of weather.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, remember here in Arkansas.
Don't forget your jacket.
Yeah, make sure you have a good jacket, because I about learned my lesson on that. Then I found my old work jacket that was still in my Jeep.
Nice. You got lucky. So
No.
I told my wife, I was like, I switched out all my fuel lines for my diesel heater, and this is my third winter going into that I've had this. It's a Vivor, I believe, 5 kilowatt little diesel heater from Amazon. I think it was about $130. They're still $130, I think. But I changed all the fuel lines because they were getting rusty and crusty. And I told my wife, I was like, yeah, we're taking the diesel heater. She's like, no, don't take it. That's just extra stuff. And I'm like, no, we're taking it. So I'm glad
thing
we
was
did,
running all
because
weekend.
that thing was awesome. Dude.
I was
it
fine
awesome.
without one.
And wait till you get one. You're going to be like, man, this is awesome. But you said you slept pretty good anyway.
Yeah.
There's no more sleeping in a jacket.
What'd you say, Jacob?
I said, there's no more like sleeping in a jacket and pants and stuff like that. You get to sleep like you're at home.
Absolutely. And the comfort. What kind of mattress are you sleeping with, Jacob?
So the one in this wedge tent's actually the one that came in, and it's got a 4-inch memory foam already in it.
Really?
Yep. So it's the Global Road. They're Aegis 2, I think is what it is. I'm not extremely impressed with the tent overall, but for the price of $1,500, what I bought it for, I can't complain.
So you like the mattress with that? You wouldn't complain about the mattress?
Wow, no, not on
that's
that one. And the Alpha, my Alpha tent, the mattress in it's excellent. I mean, it's not as good as what soft shell tents are, because they just have a ginormous mattress in them. They're known for them. The 23-0 soft shells, the walkabout tents, got an excellent mattress. I am looking to change mine in my Alpha, just to fit the wife's needs better. But yeah, I mean, it's comfortable. And then the diesel heater, like I said, it's there. I mean, it's always going to be.
Really helps.
I run the H Calorie brand off of Amazon. It's already in like a tote box style thing. I've got the one that's Bluetooth. That Bluetooth came awesome. You can turn it on, turn it off, change the temperature, everything from your phone while you're up in the tent. So, and you can monitor everything, your battery levels and everything from the app. So, and they're like $229. They're phenomenal.
Nice.
But yeah.
Yeah, definitely game changers for sure. That opens up another 4 months for me,
Yeah, most definitely. But no, something I'd recommend to the first time person going to Rendezvous, check the weather. And I don't mean check it a week before, check it an hour before you leave your house.
Well, even
'cause
yet, they got it way wrong. It was supposed to be sunny.
that's what
in
I'm
the
saying.
70s, 80s,
Yeah,
and it
that's
was
what I'm
like,
saying. I mean, just
ugh.
and then expect for the worst. Up in the mountains, it can always get that fog and stuff like that. And that wasn't fog. That was like rain floating in the air that just stayed there.
Sure.
That stuff was thick.
Yeah.
That fog was
Uh,
wild, man. You couldn't see 20 yards in front of you.
I
now
got
everybody
lost walking
disappeared.
across the field.
Yeah, I couldn't find the porta potty. So, I mean,
Whenever I pulled up to register, I was like, "Where is everybody?" Because you could not
This
see
is
like 10
yeah.
feet past the
lame.
tent. I was like,
So
"There's
that's the
nobody
thing.
here.
Whenever
What the heck is this?"
So whenever you roll into that, I always say, the main stage is over on the far left, and blah blah blah. You can get a good vantage point from up there. Well, obviously not if it's foggy. So, let's shift gears a little bit into the BO hangout. What'd you guys think of that?
Loved it.
Busy.
It was.
It was
I had a
busy.
good time.
Yeah, it was one of our highlights of the event.
Nice.
Not to say anything negative about the event itself, but your little free raffle that you put together meant more than everybody up there trying to compete. It was people who wanted to be there at your hangout. It was like-minded people that, we don't have a care of the world if you're sleeping in the back of your Jeep or you have $50,000 on top of your truck. We're all the same
Right.
like-minded people. That makes
Yeah.
it a lot better. But yeah, what I thought you did was awesome. That was a great turnout compared to last year.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and last year was phenomenal. We had a blast last year at it, but
Yeah.
I mean, just it was worth coming to. So if anybody's watching this, next year come to it. So it's worth it.
Sweet.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of y'all saw me smoke the tree with my drone. In the middle.
Did you ever post that footage? I couldn't find it in that.
No,
that
it deleted
Dropbox.
it. It deleted it because it
Oh.
caught itself and righted itself, and then it was having a seizure on the gimbal. And I was searching for it because that was going to be my go-to, Benji. That was literally going to be my
Smoked a
go-to.
tree.
And they're like,
That
"Oh,
was
it's still
funny.
floating." Wow.
So next year is going to be tough. I think that's kind of our staple now is to kind of do a free giveaway or the raffle. I think next year, if you guys have ideas, maybe off air, we could talk or just think of something during the year of like kind of maybe we do like a barbecue thing or something. Maybe just do some kind of meet up there like at 1 o'clock and kick this sucker off at 6. I don't know, something fun like that. Just more of a hangout. I really wish that this was more of a hangout. Sure, yeah, some people were sitting around talking, but I don't think a lot of people knew what to do. And it was fun to see people that brought their Devos lights and stuff, and we just lit it up. And then the amount of people that donated, and companies and people that donated to the giveaway was fantastic. I think we did like 48 or 50 items, which was like $2,500. It was crazy, man. It was fun.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, I thought it was, and
It was a blast to be a part of it, man. I just want
Yeah,
to
it
say
was.
thank you again. Like,
Well, I appreciate
just
you guys
for-
jumping in and helping me. That's crazy. Mike showed up like 2 hours before this thing. I said, let's go. And he was just standing there helping my wife and stuff doing. I was like, hey, can you read these tickets? Because I'm going to be a little
Like
preoccupied.
Brian. Yeah, Brian handed me a mic and said, "Read them off," and I was like,
We don't mess
okay.
around.
All right. So about the
Oh.
first 10 or so, I was a little nervous on, and then I was just like, all right, whatever.
You're
Like,
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Yeah, it was a blast, man. I was just to see everybody's expression whenever they were coming up and winning stuff. That was
that's-
really cool. And there was a
Yeah.
lot of really quality products, man. Like a lot of stuff that you wouldn't think that you need, but like that pillow that you
Oh,
gave
that was
away.
awesome.
What was it, Hest?
yeah.
Yes, those are awesome pillows.
And I was like, man, I really want that because I forgot my pillow. And
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I was like,
That would have been ironic if you won that.
yeah, I know, man. But no, it was just cool to see everybody's expression coming up there and being as grateful they were, and the amount of people, man. We had how many tickets we give out? Like over 300.
Kate said like close to 300 something tickets. It was crazy.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, but I mean, going back to items that you gave away, those ditch lights, a buddy of mine won them. He was just talking about needing ditch lights. It would have been amazing for him to
Awesome.
have those ditch lights. He won them. And I mean,
That's
he
awesome.
he was ecstatic, and he's a great dude. I mean, so he's very appreciative of it. And I was like, dude, that's awesome. So
That's
Is
really
that those
awesome.
Kelly
Brand new
wrestlers?
too.
yeah, it was. I mean, and it's just you got items that sorry, somebody's pulled in my driveway and I don't recognize the vehicle.
They're
You,
universal.
yeah, and you got items that are useful.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean that made a big difference. So
Yeah. Sweet. Did anyone? Let's shift gears again. Did anybody go wheeling this weekend or this past weekend?
Yep.
I'm talking like full blown. Go out in the woods and do some wheeling. You did,
Oh yeah.
Dalton?
Oh yeah. I smacked a
Tell us what you
tree and
did. Did any do it? Let's just tell us the whole story.
so it's kind of weird. The maps by the first aid tent, they had on the back side of it, they had those trails marked in red, like, hey, you can do this. So Thursday, I went to go look at one, and I guess I didn't pull it far enough to see that it went around a corner, so I backed out. Asked the guy about it. He said, well, keep going. So I did that trail and the guided trail. The guided trail wasn't too bad. I say it's a mild one, just kind of get me to familiar with my Jeep because it's a manual, so I was trying to learn
Oh yeah.
clutching and all of that. Did that, I had confidence. So I think Saturday is when I decided, well, let's go do a trail with my friend.
Nice.
We did the one that was just as soon as you turn right at Mulberry, it's up there on the left. It was a phenomenal trail until about halfway through when I realized the rain was a lot more than I thought was going to happen the night before. Half of the trail was pretty muddy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was dicey in some parts. Some part I say I'm still trying to learn my capabilities of my Jeep, so I was iffy on what I can and can't go through. I learned a couple things about how 15 by 10s are not probably the ideal wheel and tire. 15 on 10 33s are probably not the ideal thing to have on trails after smacking about 8 trees with them. But I did that trail. I don't know if you guys, anyone did it either, but there was a fallen tree if you took a right at the Y. And
Now my buddies went out on, I don't know what trail you're talking about, but they said they were out on supposedly it was a 3-hour trail. Took them 7 hours because they were clearing trees left and right. So I doubt it was that one, but I don't know.
It might have been. I know this tree, it took up the whole road. And enough people I went to the around it looked like. And I met a guy that had a smaller Jeep than mine that did it. And I was like, well, if he can do it, I can do it. I mean, well, it's the same concept here. Did that one up it and absolutely smothered a tree on the back left half of my Jeep.
Yikes.
And scratched up the paint pretty good. Bumper took it like a champ. Thank God I put on bumpers the week before. Finished out strong. Just that and ripped fenders because I didn't clear trim enough on the 33s. So ripped fenders.
Your adventure sounds like my first year at Rito. I had my third. It wasn't this third gen. I had a different third gen, and my left lower upper. Well, yeah, it was my third gen. It was the left upper control arm mount or trailing arm mount ripped off the frame because it was rusty. It just ripped off. So it's like I had a whole nother story after that to get home. But
yeah,
I was just like, go out there and test yourself a little bit. It wasn't my first time wheeling, but it was like, when you're with a group of stuff, you want to kind of show off a little bit, maybe do something cool. And
you did it.
Yeah, so that's what.
Did something cool. We're talking about it 5 years later.
Yeah. The guy that I was with had very low doubts about what I could clear through and wouldn't clear through with how wide my Jeep was. That kind of stuff. Like I was told him, like, well, if you can go through it, I'm sure I can go through it. Well, it is the case in some points and not in the others.
Yeah.
Because he saw me go through that tree, and my back right tire hit it, and I just bounced into that other tree and completely ate it. And he's over there laughing at me, and I was like, oh, it is what it is. I mean, I bought a 95 Cherokee to beat on it and have fun with it.
Yeah, you'll get comfortable at running those trails and stuff. I've ran several of those trails up there, and I followed Tacomas and Forerunners and everything, and I'm in a full size F-150. It's been in the Ozarks. I mean, I wheel my truck, but you'll know how to turn, where to turn, get around trees. You'll learn all that. I mean, and it's, you
Mm-hmm.
know, I'm running 35 1250s on 18-inch wheels
Hmm.
on my truck. So they stick out a little bit. They have a little poke to them too. Um, but I mean, just you know when and where to turn and when and what you can't do. I mean, I may have to make a 48-point turn with, you know, Benji could do a U-turn, you know,
Right.
but it works. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, you're
Yeah.
absolutely right, man. You learn your truck. The
yeah,
more you're out there, you learn your truck, especially when you're wider than you should be on the trails. I mean, I've stuffed this Tundra places it has no business being. But you know
yeah,
what? It's adventures. You know, I've wanted to cry the first time I did it, but ever since then, you know, it's just a blast.
It
Yeah,
yeah,
is.
I say it was definitely a learning curve because I know me and my dad when I was little did a whole bunch of jeeping and stuff like that, and I don't remember much about it. So going to this, I was very nervous on the trails because I say
Mm-hmm.
I got to drive this here and then I got to drive it back home, especially with my
Right.
friend
yeah,
with me, even though I live like an hour and a half away up in
Sure.
Fayetteville, Arkansas. But I didn't want to destroy it because I knew like the week, 2 weeks after that or a week after that, I'm going to the high water bar trail. So I was very scared of what I wanted to do, but I also knew the only way to learn is to get out of your comfort level and just do
Yeah.
it. Go with people, try to be confident and learn what you can from what they said. And a lot of people gave me pointers, especially on
Yeah.
how to use the clutch to your favor, because that was one of my scariest deals on the whole trail is not stalling, and I didn't want to burn out my clutch because if I burn it out
Right.
in a 3 hour trail and I'm an hour and a half in it, if I burn out my clutch, I'm probably not going to enjoy the most of it.
Yeah.
But a lot of people gave me helpful advice, and they said what you guys said. You just got to get out there and do it, and once you do it for so long, you'll get used to it and more comfortable, and then it'll be like driving on a dirt road.
Yep.
yeah. And that's the great thing about this community is everybody wants to help you. I
Yeah.
mean, nobody's going to leave, you know, anyway, in my group and the guys here that I know, nobody's going to leave you out there stranded. I mean, I'll at least bring you out. We have to leave your vehicle, but we'll
Yeah,
get you out, you know,
Right.
and, you know, so, you know, it's a helpful community. It's one of the best ones I've ever been a part of. So,
yeah. I say
For
everyone.
sure.
I was very surprised because I know most people nowadays don't have manners. A lot of kids my age, but when I was with this community overland and all that, they were very helpful, nice. I mean, down to earth people. You couldn't really
Mm-hmm.
ask for a much better group of people to be with.
Sweet. Well, guys, we're getting a little close to the exit here, but let's go around the room and we'll start with Paul and then kind of tell us what you're looking forward to next year and maybe something you may or may not change on what you did this year.
Next year, I'm definitely going to make it. I'm planning on bringing a lot less stuff, and I want to get out and do more driving and sightseeing. But
Sweet.
Friday would have been real tough to go sightseeing when you couldn't see 5 feet in front of your face.
That's the truth.
But
What
and
about you,
hopefully, I'll
Mike?
get to bring my daughter back with me.
I'm glad she went with you. That's cool, and she didn't complain one bit.
Not at
For
all.
being a
She was a
17-year-old
trooper.
kid, she did great. What about you, Mike? You were
Um,
there for 20 hours.
depending on which weekend it's on, if
All right. Hopefully
I've
those
already,
guys work together. They need to. They need to
yeah,
collaborate a little bit better.
because I've already committed to having to being at Crawl next year. But if it's the
That's
weekend
fine.
after, uh, I'm definitely going to be there. I
Cool.
had a blast, man. I mean, like I said, the only thing that I wish that I'd done is I'd been there longer, but I couldn't be at two places at
Yeah.
once.
Nope.
And so, and it was fun. It was a good experience, like just dipping your toes in the water, just seeing what to expect and what to bring. Would I bring anything different? Probably, because me and the wife are looking at getting a rooftop. I like the
Nice.
incognito style of my truck
Yeah,
because
for sure.
uh, just because of where I live. But at the same time, I got into this to be with my family to get them into it,
Mm-hmm.
and four people aren't going to sleep in the inside of a Forerunner.
no,
So
No.
we've been looking at rooftops and trying to figure that out, and hopefully I get to bring my wife and kids next year.
Nice. I hope you do too. That'd be great. I think they'd love it. What about you, Jonathan? What are you going to bring next year?
What do you want me to cook? That's the question. I mean,
You name it, man.
my pack out, man. I mean, like I was saying earlier, I bring a lot of stuff, but I run through my head. I've got three small boys, and I mean, everything that I'm thinking about is situational awareness. So I stay on top of any potential situation that I can run into. What if we're around the campfire, it's 12 o'clock in the morning, and we want some smoked sausage? It's coming with me.
Sure.
I mean, Benji, you can attest to that one too.
And that happened.
That literally happened. It's I really want my wife and my other two boys to come with me. My oldest came with me this year. He's 7. I've got a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old, almost 2-year-old. Wife made me buy a camper, and so I mean, if that's the case, I'm going to tote that whole thing up there and then just go park it and see where it goes from there. So there's no telling. I mean, I'm definitely have plans to come back next year as far as right now, and hopefully hit a couple extras.
Yeah, I'm wanting to definitely do some more trails next year. But like everything else, it was really muddy and soupy and foggy. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
Jacob, what about you, brother?
Well, so it all depends. It depends on if my family's coming or if I'm coming. If it was just me, I don't think I would have changed anything. I think my setup was great. Now, hopefully next year I may cook in it again. But as far as what we did and how we left and started the trip and everything like that, it worked out great. Something that I would like to see at Rendezvous is maybe a DJ or a band. Some music. It would gather more people around to hang out versus being all.
They did a band last year, correct?
I believe so, but it was.
And
I think.
Flopped.
Well, wasn't it after the raffle?
Okay, that's why
everybody was leaving because the storm was rolling in.
Yeah.
You could watch that storm come in over the mountain, and so
if they did a band at like 1 o'clock that day, that'd be cool.
Yeah, that or even have a DJ out there. Even if it's just right there at the vendor area to where the majority of people are hanging out, just some kind of music or something just to hang out, conversate with. Now, one of our guys, he brought his guitar, and I don't know if any of y'all heard our horrible singing Saturday night.
I wish I had. I would have come over.
It was amazing. I mean, it sounded.
Was Dylan with you? Who was?
No, Dylan did not get to come.
That's what I thought.
But Lance Johnson brought his guitar. Which is another buddy of ours. Now, last year, him and Dylan had his banjo, Lance has his guitar, and it was a whole dang,
That was fun.
Yeah, it was awesome. But we still had it. It was still fun. But yeah, maybe some music out there to where you could hang out a little later than what the vendor shut down. Or maybe, that's something we can talk about maybe at our hangout, somebody bringing a speaker or something, just playing some music, hanging out, starting at 1 o'clock. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I almost wish they would split the raffle between Friday and Saturday night, because that was almost 3.5, 4 hours on Saturday night.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it was a good time. The guy that was DMCing it, he did a great job. Kept everyone entertained, but that was long, man.
Well, that's kind of the highlight, the giveaway, or their raffle is kind of the highlight too. So it is kind of anticipated to be a little bit longer, especially if the more the vendors, the more the gear. So I remember like last year they did like rooftop tents, winches, and even smaller stuff in between. It was just like gear after gear after gear, and people get pumped for that. That's why they stick around. So I think that's kind of fun in and of its own. And I guarantee you if they split it up, they'd probably lose half the crowd too. Maybe. I don't know.
They might.
Dalton, what about you, bro?
I'll definitely be back next year. I've already put it in my work schedule to take off.
Nice.
I more or less told them like in October of next year, there's going to be a week and I'll need off almost the whole week and weekend.
Good for you.
Things I'll probably change or have already changed my drawer system and my bed system because one of my drawers took a crap. One of the screws backed out of it midway. I'll probably bring a table. I learned the hard lesson of not having enough room and stacking stuff without a table.
Yep.
I definitely would like to see, as you guys are saying, like something to bring people closer together to talk. You have the vendors, which is very nice to talk to and all that, and then the giveaways and then your BO meetup was nice to talk to other people like that. But when it comes to kind of like towards the night when the vendors are kind of settling down and you can still see people walking around trying to figure out what to do, I'd like maybe something to like draw them in to talk.
Okay, that's a good idea. So what if there was like a community fire?
That's
maybe a big fire.
Yeah, that's something like that to where you can hang out and talk to new people, because that was when
Maybe a beer tin or something. That'd be killer if they had like a
that
beer
would be
tin.
killer.
Beer
That would be
garden.
awesome.
Had a bartender on standby, and you just walk up. That'd be really cool. So Rendezvous in the Ozarks is held by Natural State Overland, and they do a questionnaire. It might be floating around now. I've not seen one, but if they do, they want your input. So fill out that questionnaire. It takes about 10 minutes or less. You know, it depends on how much you're typing. But, like, kind of put in your little touches. They ask for suggestions, and I think that's a good idea. A community hangout. I wouldn't call it community hangout. Call it like a after party or after hour party. Or, I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
But, guys, let's go back real quick, and we're going to wrap this thing up. So I'm going to start with Dalton. If you guys want to plug your handles, if you got YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, anything like that you guys want to plug, or if you guys are belonging to a group or organization you want to plug, mention them or whatever, feel free to do that. So Dalton, how can people follow you?
I have a
If
YouTube.
you want them to.
I'm trying to start a YouTube channel. I got the guided trail video I still got to edit and put on it, but if you guys want to give me a follow on there, it's called The Adventures of Delta and Bravo. Like I
Nice.
say, I'll be posting most of my trail next week on that and whatever adventures I go on throughout my overlanding life.
Very cool. And I'll put all this in the show notes. What about you, Jacob?
So took a break from YouTube for just a little bit, changing the way that we're doing things a little bit. But you can follow me on Instagram at lastminute_adventures with no E, and that is adventures with an S but no E. They won't. I'm in debate trying to get that tag name mine, because the person who has the other one has never posted anything. They haven't have a single post. So I'm debating. I'm in debate with Instagram right now, and I think they're going to let me have it. So, but yeah,
nice.
give us a follow there. We're more switching to a family-based adventure, channel and post, different festivals, not only just overlanding type stuff, but just camping, fishing, hunting, all that kind of stuff. So
cool, man. Jonathan, what about you, brother?
Yeah, I pretty much post everything on Instagram. It's J Hines, Hines 621. You'll see a lot of my Rugrats on there, but you'll see a lot of my trips on there also.
Very cool. What about you, Mike?
I've got an Instagram. It's called Dogtown River Rat. Play on where I grew up at, and man, I mostly post stuff. I help out with Toyota Trucks of Arkansas on Facebook, and then also help out with yours, the Budget Overland Facebook group.
Yeah, he's moderator, by the way. I didn't drop that. Mike's the moderator of Budget Overland, and we do a lot of behind the scenes crap that people don't get to see. So you're welcome. Just say you're welcome, Mike, for everyone.
But you can find me on Facebook. That's mostly what I post. My Instagram, it was mostly a bunch of older stuff whenever I was trying to do a woodworking business. So
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at Paul, because it got real dark in Oklahoma real quick.
Yeah, I did.
Who's in Oklahoma?
I look like a fool.
Oh, Kansas. Golly, yeah.
I'm
I
in
forgot,
northeast
yeah.
Kansas.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, I look
I
like
would
a
have
fool right
I
now.
would have stuck with Oklahoma, but
Yeah.
Dude, they're all on the list. Nebraska, Oklahoma.
I don't know. I lived
Texas
in Oklahoma
even.
City for a minute.
My
It's
sister
about
lives there.
flat and dry out there.
We won't get into any of that just yet. Mr. Paul, Reverend Paul, Wandering Possum, how can people follow you, sir?
Well, on Instagram, I'm Wandering Possum Adventures with a bunch of underscores in there. And on Facebook, I'm Reverend Paul Miley. Other than that, that's about all I do.
Fellers, is there anything else I missed on this little conversation, a recap, if you will, of Rendezvous that you guys want to touch on real quick?
I got
I think
one
we covered.
thing. I got an
Dalton's got
idea.
one.
I got an
Go
idea
ahead, brother.
for next year for like a budget overland meet. If everything works out, of course, is I think someone did like a potluck dinner where everyone brings a dish. That might be something to consider maybe if everyone brings something to eat or something like that. If you do it towards like 1 or noonish for lunch,
That could be
definitely.
doable.
Because I say I know a lot of people there cook because I could smell it where I was. I
Yeah.
smell about everyone cooking something, and I was looking at what I was cooking and a little jealous of what they were cooking.
That's probably my
But
spam
that,
sandwiches.
Spams. He was cooking those. What I was thinking of, well, two things. A, when I was throwing all these ideas at the wall, like, I'll bring a table. You guys can bring chips and snacks. Well, obviously, that's probably not going to work too well with like 200 or 300 people. However, another thing, like you mentioned, when me and my wife were kind of planning, she was primarily planning, planning for like our food meal prep and all that stuff. I was like, we don't need to take this meal, and this meal because we're going to eat at OARC Cafe. Guaranteed someone at camp's going to be cooking way too much food, and 2 or 3 of y'all's was. And Jonathan's food was worth waiting on too because it was fantastic. So I anticipated some of that. And there's people at camp that like to cook. I don't like to cook at camp at all.
I'd rather be drinking beer.
Absolutely.
I'm with you.
And but a good snack's nice, like the smoked links and the sausages and the boudin and all that fun stuff was just phenomenal. Because I don't get to eat that stuff at home. And the smoked meats.
Justin's
Y'all
fajitas.
making me hungry now. God.
Dude,
Yep.
his
Yeah, Justin made tacos.
jambalaya at Big Iron was
That was-
amazing.
That was a giant week, Justin. Don't punch your truck or whatever the screen is, whatever. Guys, I think we're gonna call this a RAP, or is it a WRAP? I don't know. I think it's a WRAP.
Yes.
I wasn't very good at science. All right, guys. I'm gonna put everyone's description and handles in the show notes below. Don't forget to tune in on Mondays for Overland Shenanigans. You can call the hotline. If I can remember the number. Anybody want to remember the number for me?
I got it saved into my phone.
Well, shoot. It's 314. This might just be some old boy's number. I don't know. I think it's 314-266-5936.
9
And if
9535. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. Tune in Mondays for Overland Shenanigans and more of a serious note on Thursdays. Guys, have a great day. Bye-bye.
Later, bro.
See ya.